Thank you so much for your joining me today. In this interview, we would like to ask you about your mother and what you want the world to remember about the struggle for freedom in Myanmar. Your Meme Daung San Suu Kyi will turn 18 on June 19. So, first of all, could you share one of your best memory with her and why it is special for you?
Because I haven't been able to spend that much time with Meme over the years. She left me to go back to Burma to look after her mother when I was 11 years old. And since then, she's been trying to bring democracy to Burma. And it's been a very long road. So any time that I get to spend with Meme is precious. But one of my favorite memories is when she had been released back in, when was this? I guess 2010 or around then, when I gave her the dog that I gave her, Taichito, and she's always been very protective of Taichito, but he's also been very protective of her. So that's one of my favorite things, is giving her Taichito.
Thank you for sharing that. It's a very touching memory. I would like to know that have you received any recent updates on your mother's health or treatment or any other else?
I haven't received anything that I can confirm. There's very little news coming out about her situation. All I know is, well, as far as we're aware, she's still in Naypyidaw prison and being held in solitary confinement. She's got ongoing health concerns, problems with her heart, problems with her teeth, problems with her bones, and she won't be receiving the necessary treatment in prison. The prisons in Burma are notorious for people dying in them, either due to not having the right medical treatment or because they're tortured or for a number of other reasons. But I'm extremely concerned for her now.
Yeah, and many people around the world are very concerned about her too. By the way, you've continued to speak out on behalf of your Meme, your Daung San Suu Kyi, but your big brother Alexander Eric has kept a low profile. Are you in contact with him, and has he shared any thoughts about your mother's current situation?
I am in touch with him, and he's very worried for her as well.
If you don't mind, may I ask one more personal question?
Sure.
Are you aware that your uncle U Aung San U has made efforts to action of number 54 University FNU, the family home where your Mimi lived? How do you feel about that, and do you believe it's fair or not?
I don't think it's fair. I don't think he has any claim to that property. According to Burmese law, people who live outside of Burma shouldn't have any claim on Burmese property in Burma. So I can only imagine that the military have made an exception for him because it will make Meme's life more difficult. They don't want her to have any property in Burma, and that is the only property she owns in Burma. The residence that she lived in Naypyidaw was government owned, and anything else that she did have, the military would have seized. So I'm glad that nobody has shown up to these auctions.
Thank you for
But
sharing
I'm
that.
happy. I'm also happy that everybody wants Min Aung Hlaing's house.
And I have heard that you're involved in Sue's 18th birthday campaign. What are you hoping to achieve through this campaign? And do you have any other plans to celebrate her birthday?
Ultimately, I want to raise more awareness of what's happening to Meme and what's happening in Burma. At the same time, I want to try and raise funds for humanitarian aid because the situation there is so terrible for so many people. And not only with the military bombing everybody, but the fact that the earthquake happened and the military didn't help. They only want to look after themselves. They don't want to look after anybody else. So we have to do what we can to try and help. Going forwards, well, so far we did a 80th birthday calendar which sold out. We did 8,000 copies They sold out, I think, within 8 days, maybe. And since then, we've also started selling birthday cards, so people can send Meme a birthday card. Well, she won't be receiving them in person until she's free, but I hope that that time will be soon. And then the final part of, well, actually, there's two more parts to the birthday campaign. One is that we're trying to break the record of how many video birthday messages. I think the current record, I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it's less than 80,000. So we want to get over 80,000 video birthday messages. And the last part of it is I'll be trying to run 80 kilometers in 8 days. So 10 kilometers a day for 8 days in a row.
That sounds like a meaningful way to honor her and raise awareness.
And I've never done anything like this before. I'm not the most fit person. I never used to exercise very much, but I've had to start looking after myself, and I've been training for the last 4 weeks or so. So I should be able to do it, I think.
May I know one more thing? What role do you think for yourself in the movement for democracy in Myanmar moving forward?
Well, I know that democracy will come back to Burma. The resistance will win this fight. The military are losing now. With a little bit of help from the outside world, we would have won this fight already. I pray that people will start paying attention to what's happening in Burma and getting involved, because we need help. The Burmese community around the world has been doing everything they can for the last 4.5 years or so, and it stretched them very thin. You know, it's time that the world started taking notice and started to try and help restore democracy in Burma. Burma was the youngest democracy in the world. Maybe it wasn't perfect, it had a long way to go still, but it was a process that needed to have time to fulfill, and it never had that time. I hope that going forwards, we'll get to see peace and prosperity return to Burma.
Thank you. It's clear you care deeply about Myanmar's future. By the way, do you believe the international pressure can still help secure your Meme's release and that of other political prisoners?
I like to believe so, but so far it hasn't produced results. So I hope that they will take more meaningful steps to ensure that she is freed, along with all the other political prisoners.
I hope the world continues to listen. In a previous
I hope the world starts to listen.
In the previous interview with me, you mentioned that if your mother were released, you like her to retire, right? So I like to revisit that. If she is ever released, what would you think her next step would be? Would she choose to retire or return to politics or perhaps something else?
I think at this stage in her life, she deserves to have a rest. So I would hope that she would retire, but I don't think she will. I think she will continue to do everything she can to try and help Burma. And whether that's as a politician or in the background, I don't know. But I don't think she will stop doing what she needs to do in order to help the people there. She wants the people in Burma to help themselves at the end of the day. And nobody else can tell people what to do or how to act. They have to do it for themselves. And I think the people in Burma know that now, and they're doing everything they can. The problem is violence only breeds more violence. We all know that. And to bring about true lasting peace, you can't do that just through fighting. You need to talk. And at the moment, there is very little room for negotiation and dialogue. I hope that at some point, people will realize that actually we need to sit down and talk.
The last questions. What message do you have for the people inside Myanmar, especially the young generation resisting the junta?
I just want to say that they're all very brave. What they're fighting for is worth fighting for. And whilst I pray that at some point the fighting will stop, I don't want them to stop fighting just because they're told to. I want them to stop fighting when they're in a position to realize what they want. Yeah. So we want to have dialogue, we want to have peace, but at the moment that's not possible. The military are making it so hard for everybody there now. So I just pray that they stay strong and know that freedom is coming and that they're not alone. Whilst the international community may seem to not care, there are actually many people around the world who are doing everything they can to support the people in Burma.
And thank you so much for your time, Mr. Kim Aris. I truly appreciate your honesty and openness in sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Ju.
Yeah. Although the world may not hear directly from Aung San Suu Kyi right now, but through your voice, her message continues to be heard. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much and take care.
Thank you. You too.
လွတ်လပ်သောမီဒီယာကိုဆက်လက်ရပ်တည်နိုင်ဖို့ပြည်သက်တွေရဲ့ထောက်ပံ့ပေးမှုဟာအကြီးမားဆုံးလိုအပ်ချက်ဖြစ်တာကြောင့် MizzimaTV YouTube Channel မှာ Member ဝင်ပေးခြင်းဖြင့်ကူညီနိုင်ကြောင်းလည်းအသိပေးဖိတ်ခေါ်လိုက်ပါရစေ။